Hey everyone, this is Elias from RevMatch Media, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 2025 Mazda CX-50 Hybrid. Now, I'm a big CX-50 fan, and I'm also a big hybrid fan. But did Mazda do this hybrid right? Well, let's go ahead and get started on that. Now, before we get started, if you're looking for an in-depth review of the CX-50, I've already done one of those, and I'll go ahead and add the link to that. And for this one, though, we are going to talk about the hybrid variant. What works well with it, what could improve from Mazda, and yeah, we're gonna talk about those things because ultimately, it's kind of my favorite configuration, having a hybrid variant of a vehicle, because you get to save some money at the pump, and sometimes you get a little bit more performance in some of these hybrids that are releasing now than compared to their non-hybrid models. And of course, though, my ultimate favorite configuration when it comes to hybrids is definitely the plug-in versions of things, because you get really the aspect of you can plug it in, let it charge overnight, and that way in the morning you don't have to kind of doubt yourself in saying, oh, I'll get gas in the morning. No, just plug it in, let it charge, get those 25 that some of these vehicles have, even 30 miles, so that then you can go to work and then go ahead and fill up on the way back. But yeah, so ultimately that's my favorite configuration. So with this, though, we only have the non-plug-in version of it. I did enjoy the CX-70 that we got to review. That was the plug-in variant. That thing was incredible. So I'll also go ahead, if you're looking for a Mazda hybrid, I'll add that to the list up there as well, so you guys can watch that. Now, let's go ahead and talk about what we have underneath this hood. Now, let's talk about this configuration. Yes, we have a 4-cylinder, we have a 2.5, we have a CVT, and we have a hybrid system. So there is a lot of things going on with this. Now, the back is not connected to the front via like a drive shaft to give you the all-wheel drive system. So that all-wheel drive system is by the motors that we have in the back. Yeah, it's kind of it is going to be kind of a disconnected system, so to speak, where this isn't really sending more of a mechanical power to that rear for the all-wheel drive. And yeah, it's different. So with that being said, you don't really feel it that much. You don't feel it in the sense of like maybe the rear wanting to kick out too much or anything like that, because it's not a super high powered rear system. Now the front, yeah, also it just doesn't feel like anything different. One thing I will say though, when it goes from full EV, because you can put it in full EV for a really small window of about 10 miles an hour, or when you boost, when you cruise off, when you let off the pedal, you're cruising and then you get back on. Those are moments when it'll shut off the engine and then switch over to the battery to let you cruise, as well as get you going from that stop. Again, if you're not super aggressive on that initial launch. With that being said, whenever this turns on, you feel it. You feel a little bit of a kick. So just kind of be aware of that. I started becoming hypersensitive to it as well. So because I don't know, it just kind of started giving me that kick. Now the power, yeah, it's not as much as the 2.5 turbo. So we are going to get more power in that configuration. Bear with me, there's a lot of numbers when it comes to that. So obviously with this, we have 219 total. When we are dealing with the turbo, we are dealing with 310 horsepower. So that's a big jump. And going from the non-turbo, the 2.5, we have the 187. So it's a little bit of a bump. So think of it as that engine with the rear extra power that we get with that battery system. So yeah, it's not too bad. Now let's talk MPGs. We are supposed to get with this 38 miles per gallon combined, 39 city, and 37 highway. Now, I have been driving this pretty conservatively, and I did hit 32. That was a good amount of highway miles and a good amount of stop and go city. So I'd say a little bit combined. So we are a little bit short of that 38. It has been scorching hot. So I wouldn't be surprised if us having to run the AC really blasting the whole time to really get this car cooled, because it's just been that hot this week in Texas, has affected a lot of the MPGs. And again, not too much traffic, and I've been easing into the gas, so I'm a little surprised with that. So yeah, those are the numbers we would get if we were with the plug-in, with the hybrid configuration. Now, if we were talking about the non-hybrid, non-turbo, we're looking at 25 for the city and 31 for highway. And then 23 city and 29 highway for the turbo. Honestly, if you like performance, go with the turbo. It's a great engine. It sounds incredible. It sounds like a boxer engine. This does not. It doesn't really sound that good. It doesn't sound as good as I would say it. But yeah, other than that though, it's not bad. If you just need something to get you to point A to point B with better mileage performance, you can get this. It's a little bit more obviously than we get with the non-turbo, but in the long run, you're definitely going to make up for it with the difference in the MPGs. But yeah, that's kind of what I have to say about that. So let's go ahead and take a look at those wheels and tires. Now, with the wheel design, we do have a nice polished face with black inserts, and this is a 19-inch wheel. I do like this size. I like the 18 as well, and the 20, it's a little on the big side. So they do look nice, but man, they are really big. And I love the amount of sidewall that we get with this tire. No issues with noise, no issues with performance, with grip, things like that. Again, we don't have the most amount of power, especially that we are, having this all-wheel drive system with this. Now, as far as the performance, so this is one of the things with the suspension that I've always complained about the CX-50 is we do have a little bit of a sportier ride. So expect that. Don't expect on a long road trip, you're gonna feel it a little bit more than if maybe it were a little softer. And that's kind of one of my biggest complaints about the CX-50 is the suspension feel, especially that this is considered more of the off-road or the rugged version, which you're gonna want to have a little bit of a softer suspension to absorb those unpaved roads that you may tackle with this, soft roading, so to speak. But yeah, that's kind of one of still remains in this, because the battery weight is not in the front, it's not in the back, it's really in the middle. So it still kind of keeps the same balance as we did with the other ones that are non-hybrid. So I was expecting maybe the weight of the battery being a little bit more in the front to maybe soften that, but it's not the case. So just be aware, the ride quality is a little bit on the sportier side. With that being said, when you do want to get sporty, it's great. It responds awesome. No complaints about that. The brakes are awesome as well, so definitely regenerative braking helps out as well, but the pedal feel is incredible. So loving that. But yeah, again, I have to kind of reiterate the fact that you are going to get a sportier ride with this, not a softer, soft roader, off-roading configuration to this. Yeah. Now we get to the side profile and it's all the same. Nothing different, nothing to kind of show off that it's a hybrid variant, which I guess is a good thing. Sometimes you don't want to really stand out, but the only thing that will make it a difference as far as the fully gas powered and the hybrid is this. Yeah, just that little badge right there. That's the only thing you're really going to get from the side profile, and one badge in the back as far as a different look to it. And all the wheels, yeah, so the wheels are obviously different, which actually not too bad. I like the configuration we have, or the size what we get with those, and good proportions compared to the CX-50 itself. But yeah, that's literally the only difference. Now let me take you to the back, because I found something really interesting that I really like about the fact that we have a hybrid, but also something in the back. So we get to the back, and you thought I was kidding. Literally, that is the only difference that we get in the back. So yeah, everything else looks exactly the same, minus that little badge right there. But one thing that I really love about this is the fact that, yes, we do have a hybrid, and when we open up, so we are going to get a lot of space back here. And the other important thing back here is the fact that when we open this up, we have a spare tire. So we have a full-size spare tire too. Technically, it's a temporary use only kind of spare tire, but I love this. I love the fact that even though we do have a hybrid system, it's not taking up the additional space that, you know, the spare tire is, because the hybrid system is technically like right there, and slightly underneath the back seat. But yeah, we still have this, which is awesome to have, and it's rarely seen. So yeah, good on you, Mazda. We get inside of the CX-50 Hybrid, and it's no different. It's basically everything looks the same. Everything that I really love about the Mazda system is there. So yeah, nothing really has changed. And it's unfortunate, because I wish this could change. So yeah, the gauge cluster is really where we're back to it really kind of lacking, and it still kind of does with this system on the hybrid. I was hoping we'd get some more like options with this, but literally we have that as one view, off, and then what we were just on. And it's kind of a shame, because I wish we had a little bit more, especially with this being a hybrid. It just feels like the hybrid system was just tacked on, and it wasn't reworked for the vehicle as far as like systems. Because here, so yes, we are seeing 30.9. I did get 32. So 30.9 is right now when I'm literally just kind of cooling it down, not moving, filming the outside B-roll stuff for the video, so all this stuff. So yes, it is going to go down, but normally as far as what I got was 32. And then you see the battery of the hybrid system, so we are a little bit under half. Now that has been quite the opposite. It's usually been at 1 above, or even 2 above the halfway point. So yeah, that's what you get with this, and it's kind of a shame. I wish we got more. Now, we do have that EV there, which is activated when you press this button here on the side. So we press the EV, and right now it is showing us that it is using its automatic system and switching to EV. Now, when I press it though, it will force it into EV mode. So if it had enough battery, as you can see, it's prompting me that, but it will just say EV mode. Now, there are moments when the EV mode is not going to be possible, and that is if the hybrid system temperature is too high or too low, the engine is warming up, the high battery voltage power is low, the vehicle is driven at a high speed, the accelerator pedal is fully depressed, the vehicle is driven on a slope, the windshield defrost switch is on. Yeah. So that is when, yeah, it's not going to be possible. And then on the left-hand side, we have the gauge to show us when we're using the regenerative braking to charge more of the battery, and then when we get the actual power of, you know, the engine and the battery itself. So yeah, very simple. But yeah, I just wish we had a better system in here. If we had something to show us, maybe our pedal, or just give us like our active MPGs, things like that, it would have been better. Instead, I have to kind of go here and go into our Mazda, and then information, and then fuel efficiency monitor. And I have to kind of use this, which is kind of a shame because I would have liked to have my Apple CarPlay set there instead of having the, fuel efficiency options there. But yeah, and again, you can see we did get some good drives. So there, it's averaging about 32, like it shows there. Yeah, give me something like this in here, and I think we're on a better path. Now, another thing I was kind of let down with this, and I had to do a lot of research, is the camera system. So we only have a backup camera system. We don't have their surround, their 360 camera system that the other CX-50s that I've driven had. Now, it's also not even an option. So with this being the top of the line hybrid, I can't even add it as an option. You have to go to the turbo. I believe the gas has it as well, the non-turbo one, but it's a shame. Now, if it weren't such a great system, then I wouldn't care. But it is a really good 360-degree camera system, so it's kind of a shame that we don't get this in the hybrid, which is not the best marketing, because if you want people to move over to some of the hybrids, if you're showcasing some of the hybrids, give it all the bells and whistles that the normal gas-powered engines have. So, yeah, Mazda, I think we need to change that, because again, your system is really, really good, and I wish we had that in this. So we're gonna go for a ride, and I want to show you guys more of my POV. So yeah, unfortunately that camera, such a big letdown, because again, like I said, this system is so good with that, and you're gonna get a little bit of that bump when you switch over from EV to the gas powered engine. So it's kind of a letdown because you do kind of feel it as well. So it's not something that's just just a little bit of it, but yeah, we can see there it's regenerating. We're in EV, it switches over, and let's see if we can get a little bit of gas, and we're still in EV. If we floor it, there we go, it wakes it up. Yeah, now there, I could feel that it just kind of kicked in and gave us that extra power of the gas. Now we do have different drive modes. We do get the power, we do get the normal, and we get the trail. And it's supposed to be helpful with the rear wheels, because it's going to go ahead and use the battery system for that in order to give it more of the power to the rear when you are needing that all-wheel drive traction. And let's see how we kind of do a little bit with, yeah, I mean, it doesn't it doesn't feel as fun as the 2.5 turbo does. So you do get a little bit of a, not the fastest of response like you would normally. So there we are in EV, even though we are in sport mode, and it kicked in to go ahead and give us the gas engine. Like I said though, it is a little bit on the, if you don't mind, if you don't want to have the extra power, don't care about the extra power, I say you're good with this. You're good with this. It's going to give you a good performance with it than if you didn't have the hybrid to give you a little bit more power than you would in the normally gas powered engine, as well as the better MPGs. So I mean, that's really not a win, it's not a lose-lose, it's more of a win-win, because okay, so you do have to pay a little bit more, but you do get that extra, you get more for your money. You get the extra MPGs and you get the extra power. So I would maybe even say, as far as drivability, I would say get this over the 2.5 non-turbo. if you like performance, if you want some oomph in your CX-50, maybe you want to take it more off-roading or soft-roading, I would say go with the 2.5, because it's never a bad thing to have more power than, you know, having to need the power. Now, I'm driving more of these, you know, kind of house areas here because it's the constant stopping and starting that will get this thing kind of going. So, oh yeah, and we have a S mode for the transmission, so we do get that right there. So we get a sport mode, but yeah, it is a CVT, and it is, I'm going through the gears and it's not really doing anything. So it's kind of like Toyota's old shifting, which was just really bad, where you would tell it to go to fourth and it was still like in second or something like that. It just, yeah, it wasn't the best. But this, yeah, I mean, the powertrain hasn't been too bad, other than that little kick that we get there. And the feel of, you know, kind of turns and responsiveness hasn't been too bad. I definitely feel like it's a nice overall drive and nice overall, you know, package to this. I still think we need a little bit more improvement with those other things, like telling us what the gauge, you know, the gauges to tell us what it's doing. We definitely would like to have, you know, something more with the, something a little bit smoother, I guess, with just the engine switching there. The 360 camera system, definitely need that, because it just worked so well, especially if maybe you decide, yeah, let me go a little bit on some trails, because if you're gonna give me the trail mode, yeah, give me some tools to help me stay safe in that trail mode. Well, there you have it. Those are some of the things I liked about the CX-50 Hybrid, and some of the things I wish Mazda will work on for maybe the next generation of the CX-50 Hybrid. Now, yes, it's still the first iteration of it, and like I said, I think it still has some work to do, but I don't think it's a bad choice. I really think it's a great choice for those maybe not wanting the super performance of the turbo, and maybe wanting a little bit more fuel efficiency than the non-turbo 2.5 liter engine. So I think this fits just right in the middle. Well, I hope you've enjoyed my look at the CX-50 Hybrid. And remember, find the right gear. See ya.